So good night, Shabbos once again. This week is Parshas Chazak. So there's extra Chazak strength, it's extra koifes. Chazak is when we're finishing something. When we finish something, that's when there's completion, that's when we see the whole picture. That's when we get the whole picture. And once the container is sealed, that's where we can internalize it. I no longer go for it. We become taking the stuff in, become one with it. So we're just finishing the Sefer now, Sefer Vayikra. Vayikra is where the Eibishter called. He called to Klal Yisrael. There was a calling, there was a communication. Any type of communication is communication. And when we're looking for the Eibishter is everywhere, is everything. Yes, is everywhere and everything, but what's the raw nerve? What is the Zachalin? The Zachalin is Torah Mitzvahs, Ramach Evrim Shesar Giddim, 248 Evrim, and then the Giddim, the veins and all that other stuff, 365, which is the same amount as Ramach Mitzvahs Esa and Shesar Lois Esa, 248 Mitzvahs Esa and 365 Lois Esa. The Esa is what I am doing, and the Lois Esa is the gravity, what's holding. That's where it's really going on in the Lois Esa. Doing is going forward, but if I go forward and I'm completely released, and there's nothing, we can just get nichlal in, we get swallowed up into vastness. But there is a direct, that's what causes the Lois Esa, is what brings the power into the Esa. So really where it's happening is, like Shabbos is all about not doing, and when you don't do, that's where you find the do, that's where you find your connection. That's where you find the true, it comes through Kabbalah Soil. I don't necessarily understand, I don't know, but I'm doing Kabbalah Soil. And that's the Bechukoseh, the Choik. There is a famous saying from the Baal Shem Tov that a neshama waits thousands of years to come down and to be able to be nislabish in a guf, to come into this world, to this consciousness, to this Olam Asiyah, so he can do a tovah for a yid begashmis, befrat beruchnis. And a mitzvah tzechub 70 or 80 years to be able to do something for another yid, to connect, to bring, by coming into a body and by doing something for another yid, there is a yichid over there. There is a connection. There is a moment of oneness, and ultimately it's all in oneness, it's all in yichida, it's all in oneness. And by going into a body there, that's where there's the friction. The magnetic fields are pulling in opposite directions. And by finally coming through, by doing the work on self, by doing the work, we are melting away the barriers, removing all that, and then there's this magnetic click, this yichud. The problem is that even when we're in yichud, if we've been beaten down for so long and so many times, that even when we're in yichud, we don't appreciate the moment and we're chased the next moment, instead of recognizing that this is the moment. So the idea is to breathe into that. When you're having a moment of success, where you're successfully won over the other side, the negative pull, and against the gravitational pull, you went against the current, and you're able to make it to shore. And shore is the mission that you set out to do: connection, seeing yourself, feeling and connecting. Take a moment in Chazak, ונתחזק. Be strong, dive into it, recognize that that's what it is, because ultimately it's all in the good, and that is through the Choik, the Chukoseh. There's here another, the story goes on. There's a story with a chassid that came, but the bottom line is that the same idea, he said he doesn't see what he's doing here for Yiddishkeit. He doesn't feel like he's the neshama that came down and do anything for anything. So the word is that even to do a favor for Yid is one thing, but even when there is no Yidden, when you're surrounded by people that don't understand, they're not Yidden, by Goyim, and they don't necessarily understand what it is that's going on, but by being self, by finding yourself in that place once again, a Yid puts on tefillin and keeps Shabbos, there's a whole preparation. There's a whole avodah and everything. Lighting the candles and cooking for Shabbos. It's big work, and this goes on and on and on. Repetitions. The whole idea of repetitions is until it becomes something that we can do just by becoming one with it. It's a natural. It just we become a part of what we're doing. We say the same tefillah every day, the same candles, the same cooking, the same meal, the same nusach every single day for years and years. The idea is to get one with the process, to become one with the process, internalize it. So, Chazak ונתחזק. The goal should be to feel called, to feel the calling, to feel the inner calling, to feel the pull. Understanding that it exists in the moment. The whole going forward, the whole the running and the chase is when there's a moment when we walk in, we step into Shabbos, to recognize the peace, not to take it for granted. It's not something that we decided to take a day off, just to feel, tune into the refinement, tune into the day, tune into the manicha, that there is nothing pushing or pulling. Midweek, Tuesday, somebody wants to take a day off, there's still something that's trapped, pushed, and I don't have manicha. Checking the phone, here there is nothing. And that is because the machine is stopping. Getting back into nefesh, getting back into center, getting back into my vayikra, the inner calling. So the ikar is to be strong, to have the confidence, to have the chizuk. The chizuk, it's in the chizuk. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it just like that. You are special. You put in the work. Take the time for yourself to celebrate. Take time for yourself. Find yourself. And within finding self, that's where we connect. That's where we bypass all the distractions. When we find the magnetic pull from inside, that little dot of light, of oil, the vayikra, when you find that's where there's chazak. That's where we connect with anything that penetrates, because the second of truth penetrates anything. That's the yichud. And the more in touch you are, or rather, if there is a resistance in the connection, that means that you haven't found you're not going deep enough. You haven't found your little boy. You haven't found your little calling. You haven't found the small aleph yet. We're still abused in thinking that it has to look this way or that way. No, it's in the subtlety. As I say, we are a chelik elokay mimal, right? We're going to go, we are a chelik elokay mimal mamish. Every yid is a chelik from Creator itself. What's the issue though? So why can't we see it? What are we struggling with? The only thing that's between us and recognizing that we are a chelik elokay mimal mamish is because our ego has this idea that if I'm really chelik elokay mimal mamish, if I'm something from the highest conscience, so on and so forth, then I should be able to do anything I want and have all these great things, whatever the image is that was put in by Paro, the imagination, the imaging that was flashed into my head from the fast-moving life. Everything is moving so fast, so I don't have a minute to think. That it's v'tachas hapshitas. Creator it's simple. It's in the simplicity. It's all in the simple. It needs nothing. It wants nothing. It just is, and that's where we find the biggest earning and the biggest pleasure. It's as simple as the wedding that's in this extravagant hall and all that, the preparations and all that, versus the wedding that's in the backyard, where you just have your close loved ones and the people that really matter, the people that really care are coming, and it's an internal. Everybody shows up. Everybody really shows up. Everybody shows up because for whatever is pulling them there, just to be present with the Baal Simcha. So it's in the simplicity. So let there be chizuk, chazak, ונתחזק, And we should already be there once and for all. Have a good Shabbos.